Greek mythology, vast and diverse, plays a key role in our understanding of the ancient world's culture and beliefs. Among many stories and characters, one of the most fascinating narratives is the description of the ages of man, which illustrates the evolution of humanity through 5 distinct ages: gold, silver, bronze, heroes, and iron. Each of these ages is a unique period in mythic history, reflecting changes in the relationship between humans, gods, and nature, as well as transformations in human morals and ethics. The Golden Age is the first and most prosperous period in the sequence of ages described by Hesiod in Works and Days. The Titans Prometheus and Epimetheus had created men. During this Golden Age, human beings lived in perfect harmony with the gods and enjoyed a peaceful, abundant, and happy existence. Life in the Golden Age was the idealization of perfection and a utopia compared to later ages. During this period, the earth was extremely fertile, generating food spontaneously without the need for hard work or agriculture. Human beings had a direct and friendly relationship with the deities, allowing them to enjoy protection, wisdom, and divine guidance. Harmony with the gods also ensured peace and justice among humans, creating a balanced and stable society. Humans of the Golden Age were described as almost immortal. At least they had great longevity and did not suffer from pain, disease, or the widespread suffering that came to afflict humanity in subsequent ages. They lived without worries and had a joyful existence filled with festivities and celebrations. In this age, moral and ethical values were high. Kindness and generosity were inherent characteristics of human beings. The absence of conflicts and rivalries allowed for harmonious coexistence and collaboration among members of society. With the end of the Golden Era came the Silver Age. Human beings still had a relatively long lifespan, although they were no longer immortal. The land was still fertile, but not as prodigious as in the Golden Age. Humans needed to do some work to get food, but farming and living was still considerably easier than in the following ages. The relationship between humans and the gods began to deteriorate at this time. Worship and respect for the deities weakened, and the gods began to distance themselves from mortals. This disconnection caused a decline in moral and ethical values, and human beings became less virtuous and more selfish. Men became more ignorant and less wise than their predecessors. The lack of wisdom also affected their relationship with nature. Human beings began to exploit the environment instead of living in harmony with it. Society was still relatively peaceful, and conflicts were rare. But the lack of virtue and wisdom was beginning to cause problems. Justice and fairness began to be compromised, making room for corruption, leading these men down a dark path. The Bronze Age of men was marked by violence. Bronze Age humans were forged from ash trees and the metal bronze, symbolizing their warlike and violent nature. They were known to be ruthless and brutal, dedicating themselves to war and destruction. Society became more violent and aggressive. The peace and harmony of previous eras were replaced by constant conflict, fighting, and war. Life became shorter and more difficult. The land was no longer as fertile as before, and human beings needed to work hard to grow food and survive. The connection between humans and gods was practically non-existent during the Bronze Age. Worship and respect for the deities had been all but forgotten. With the guidance of the gods, humans based their actions on selfish and morally decadent reasons. The kindness, generosity, and justice of earlier ages gave way to cruelty, ambition, and injustice. Society became more unequal and unstable. This violent and corrupt society dishonored the work of the gods, so the deities decided to exterminate the violent and merciless human beings who dominated the earth. Zeus and Poseidon brought a gigantic flood upon the earth. Only a couple of humans survived this cataclysmic event: Deucalion and Pyrrha, who were responsible for sowing the seeds of the men who would inhabit the post-Diluvian world. With the end of this dark age came the Age of Heroes, marked by the presence of demigods and great heroes who accomplished enormous feats. This new age of men is a brief resurgence of human greatness after the previous dark period. The heroes of this era descended from the gods and had extraordinary talent, strength, and courage. They fought monsters, led armies, and face challenges that ordinary humans could not overcome. The hero's presence also made it possible to re-establish relative order and justice. The Age of Heroes was also characterized by the strengthening of the connection between humans and gods. Although this relationship was not as close as in the Golden Age, the heroes and demigods were like intermediaries between mortals and deities, re-establishing a certain communion between the two worlds. Many of the Greek myths and legends take place in this age, including stories such as that of the hero Theseus, who faced the Minotaur, Hercules and his 12 labors, Jason and the quest for the Golden Fleece, and the Trojan War and the Odyssey. These myths underline the courage, wisdom, and persistence of heroes in the face of seemingly insurmountable adversity and challenges. The Age of Heroes ended after the Trojan War and their return home, ushering in the Iron Age, characterized by struggle, suffering, and moral decay. It is the period in which the poet Hesiod claimed to have lived. The Iron Age is the darkest and most challenging phase of Hesiod's periods. Life became a burden for humans, marked by demanding work, suffering, and injustice. Unlike the other eras, which had a clear end and a transition to the next, the Iron Age endures to this day, according to Hesiod. And it serves as a reminder of the difficulties and challenges faced by humanity throughout history. Do you think we are still in the Iron Age of man, as Hesiod said? Or are we in a new age? And is it more virtuous or more corrupt than the previous one? Leave your opinion here in the comments. For more videos like this, be sure to subscribe to the channel.